while we're here, so we kind of have to figure out what's going on.
But I threw his wallet out the window.
Wait, you threw his wallet out of the window while driving while he was there?
He hurt me several times on the way to do that, and I took his stuff and threw it out the window because he wouldn't give my phone back, and I asked several times and still wouldn't, and I have to tell my parents to me.
What happened today? You guys are obviously in this car.
He's like, I don't know, he hit me a couple times.
While you were in the car?
Yeah.
You just heard the police dash cam from Johnny Manziel's alleged domestic altercation with his girlfriend Colleen Crowley. Christine Brennan wrote a column for USA Today Sports about this incident, in which she argued that based on NFL policy and the evidence we have from the situation with his girlfriend, Johnny should already be placed on the exempt list. When on the exempt list, players receive paid leave. According to Brennan, this list is exactly where Manziel belongs. Here's the NFL policy on paid leave. An individual may be leave will last until the completion of the NFL investigation or disposition of a criminal charge. Skip, should Johnny be on the exempt list?
Molly, Stephen A., yes, he should be. And I want to applaud Christine Brennan for stepping up and writing this today in today's USA Today. And as you know, Stephen A., and I'll say it again up front, I'm a fan of Johnny Manziel's. Heck, I consider myself a friend of Johnny Manziel's. But I also said when we first discussed this incident on last Monday's show that the domestic violence issue operating here was far more serious and should, and I was hoping would be, quickly investigated by the National Football League. I'm going to assume that's going on right now. But to Christine's point, he should already be on the exempt list because that's how the policy reads. And there is plenty enough just on the dash cam from his girlfriend that raises enough suspicion, at least to me, that it's for sure that he should be on the exempt list. And it sounded like some form of domestic violence did take place. So just to reiterate, on the dash cam, you can hear her say, he hit me a couple of times. And then she backtracks a little bit to say, please don't, as if don't make a big deal out of this. How many victims have we seen backtrack after they have been abused by their lover or their husband or their boyfriend? And then she says, he hurt me several times. I'm in fear of my life, said his girlfriend of about a year and a half, said Johnny. And he also told the police that she's now living with him in the suburban Avon, the suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. My first issue is with the Avon suburban police. I think they mishandled this. I think they dropped the ball just the way the NFL so far is dropping the ball, because when a potential victim says that he hit me a couple of times, how do you let Johnny walk away from that? How do you let her walk away from that? Again, the only evidence of physical violence against her was the abrasion they saw on her forearm, which was consistent with the story that they both told, that she was trying to exit the car as they exited the highway while it was still in motion, and that Johnny reached across and tried to restrain her from jumping out of the car by holding onto her arm. But he hit me a couple of times, and then I'm not sure whether it was reported that he hit her to the point that she hit her head against the far passenger side window. So that's plenty enough evidence to raise enough suspicion that the police should have further delved into this. And obviously, immediately, the next day, in concert with the Cleveland Browns, Johnny should have been sent straight to that exempt list while they did their due diligence and investigation. And I assume it's going on right now. But even as Johnny's supporter and friend, I have no idea how he is still eligible to play football for the Cleveland Browns. I am with Christine Brennan. Thank you, Christine.
My response would be to that, Skip Bayless, is that I'm with Christine Brennan as well, but not as adamant as you are. I'm an admirer of her work. I have profound respect for her and the job that she has done. I think she's one of, if not the matriarch of this business. Her willingness to bring attention to issues that obviously deserve our attention is something that's admirable and should be applauded. And I think in this particular instance, she may very well be right. But again, I'm devoid of the level of adamancy that you would throw into the equation. I would say to you that Johnny Manziel should definitely be on the commissioner's exempt list because clearly, first of all, you were in the substance abuse facility, for about 10 weeks just months ago. As you highlighted, Skip Bayless, he shouldn't have been drinking at all. So the fact that he and his girlfriend acknowledged that they was drinking, that's a problem in and of itself. That's number one. Number two, obviously something took place in the car. There is no denying that. She threw his wallet out of the window and then she tried to jump out of the car while it was in motion. And like you highlighted, the report says that the abrasion on her forearm, her left forearm, is consistent with their story that she tried to go out the car while it was moving and he grabbed her. Okay, so we get all of that. So I understand that. And the fact is that based on that, combined with the alcohol, combined with the fact that she has levied an accusation saying that he hit her a couple of times, I would say to you that based on that alone, Christine Brennan is absolutely right. According to the new domestic violence policy that the NFL has implemented, where they highlight some of these hints and some of these nuggets of information that could contribute to the belief that there is a problem and that would warrant somebody being on the exempt list, I definitely think it's an apropos position for the Cleveland Browns, for the NFL itself to take in this matter. So in that regard, I do agree. The reason that I would say it's devoid of the level of vehemence or the level of adamancy that you had and you brought to the equation is this. Somebody out here needs to speak up for men who would never put their hands on women. And I think that we have gotten to a point in our society where the mere accusation is enough to convict somebody in the court of public opinion. And that's where I jump off the boat. I'm not saying that's the case with Johnny Manziel, but our willingness to broach this subject and every subject like this, we are quick to sit there and come across, not this show, but I'm talking about as a society in this day and age, to attach such a strong level of guilt. And I'm not saying that's wrong, because we've been educated and we've learned that 85% of the victims of domestic issues, domestic violence, happens to be women. My response is there's 15% that involves men who are victims. We don't talk about that. There are men who have been lied on. We don't talk about that. We all know. And let's reiterate for the public at large. You a man, you got no business putting your hands on a woman. Period. You're wrong to do it. You should be arrested. You should be in jail. You should be treated like the criminal you are because you've got no business. I can say that because I've never put my hands on a woman in my life, and I don't believe any man should. Let's be clear about that. But I've also run across cases covering professional sports over the last 2+ decades where there's a few, not many, because there's far more villains than victims, but there are a few who have been lied on. And so I want to take a moment to applaud the NFL for doing its due diligence and investigating the matter to make sure that there is something here where Johnny Manziel could ultimately be put on that exempt list. I believe, based on the evidence that we've been given, it looks bad for Johnny. And even though we both support him, damn it, it looks like he should be on the exempt list. It looks like there are consequences that he should suffer. But that's just us on the outside, just looking at what's been reported. The NFL have specialists on this matter who will go to the scene, who will investigate the nuances of what took place, all the particulars, and they will draw their own conclusion. I do agree that it is something that should be done quick, fast, and in a hurry, and we should have a decision before this Sunday's game. There's no doubt about that. But I also want to caution that we have regressed to a point where just the mere accusation is enough to sully careers. And I'm saying there are men out there, a whole lot of men, that know better than making such a punk move and doing something criminal like this. There's a whole lot of men that would never do this. And there's a few of them that have been accused, and it wasn't true. I'm just saying, let's point that out as we move forward.
I got it, but I don't think we've regressed. I think we've progressed to the point that we are listening to the victim. And again, the NFL is again dropping the ball. When is it going to learn? It should have jumped in and gotten to the bottom of this much quicker. Let me finish real quick here. And I feel a little guilty about what we talked about on Monday because I touched on the domestic violence issue possibility here. But remember, because Johnny's alcohol had been such an ongoing subject of contention on this show, we fixated on that on Monday. Are you with me on that? Because that's what was near and dear to us was he had just gone through, what was it, 10 weeks, 2.5 months of rehab, and it appeared to both of us that he had failed because he admitted he had had some drinks. And then he said she was a little intoxicated. And again, what I hope that we've all learned is that alcohol plays a role in many, many of the domestic violence cases here. So, to me, I had not heard the dash cam audio yet. It came out after our show on Monday. Well, and once I heard this, I mean, Stephen A., you can't for a second try to defend Johnny Manziel when she said, I'm not trying to defend him. And,
that's the problem. Hold on, whoa. That's the problem right there. And that's why subjects like this, you got a whole bunch of people where the subject's taboo and folks are scared to address it. I am not. I didn't hear the dash cam. Had we heard the dash cam before Monday's show, we would have addressed it. That's point number one. Point number two, I didn't sit here and try to defend Johnny Manziel. You didn't hear me say that he doesn't belong on the commissioner's exempt list. Did you not hear me say that if he is found to be guilty of such a matter, if we find evidence and it's corroborated what has been said, his behind needs to be on the exempt list. He needs to be out of the NFL. He needs to be dealt with because you don't have any business putting your hands on a woman. I recall saying all of that. But we live in this world where one sentence can get a headline and all of a sudden everybody can dilute the message. I'm not going for that. What I am saying is very clear. And by the way, don't lump me in. Don't lump yourself in. Don't lump this show in with when I use the word regress. What I'm talking about is this. I'm talking about there are a few folks out there that are not guilty of such things. So you've never put your hands on a woman. I know I haven't. We know plenty of men who haven't. Let's make sure that we disseminate that message while recognizing that there are abundance of women out there who have been victimized. They do deserve the attention. They do deserve us bringing attention to that. But the point is that in the process of doing all of that, we have gotten to a point where the leagues itself, Christine Brennan pointed out in her article, the NFL has done its due diligence. We said nothing about the National Hockey League. I brought it up months ago. Nobody has said anything about the National Hockey League and a level of due diligence they have refused to put towards the issue of domestic violence, how the Major League Baseball was late to the party because this had been going on in baseball for the last quarter century, but all of a sudden when it comes to the National Football League, and God forbid if it were the NBA, we would be all over it. I pointed that out weeks ago. So it's not us that hasn't brought attention to it. It's the professional sports leagues that exercised a dereliction of duty and didn't put forth the level of due diligence that they were supposed to. The media has always brought attention to it. It is the professional sports leagues that have not done what they were supposed to do. Don't lump us in with them. That's not us. That's not us.
Stephen A., can I jump in here for a second?
Please, Molly, please.
I think there's two parts for me with this. It's unfortunate that Johnny continues to find himself in the news for everything except football. And I fear that this could be his last stop with the Browns. And I think the league has been given him a lot of chances and very patient with his off-the-field issues. Again, I look at both sides of the situation. This is a societal issue, not solely an NFL issue, but pertaining to Johnny in this situation with his girlfriend. The NFL's beefed up their staff, their discipline, their policy. They need to investigate this. We're told that they are, but I agree with Christine Brennan and both of you that they did drop the ball again, and he should be on the exempt list. He fits into that category, and I know the NFL is going to be paying attention to her article, and they do tend to be reactionary at some points, but that's where he belongs right now. And until we have all the details, and then we decide what the next step is with Johnny Manziel. But we have enough evidence based on that that tape that we played on what occurred, that this needs to be looked into, and he doesn't need to be suited up this Sunday.
Well, that's fair, but then the league will tell you that they've got a players association to deal with. So what they want to do is investigate the matter, and as long as they investigate it before Sunday, what's the problem? Sunday hasn't arrived yet. This just took place a few days ago. If they deal with this before Sunday, what are we going to say then? It's Thursday. They got 3 days before Sunday. What if they deal with it then? And if they put forth their due diligence, then they don't have to worry about DeMaurice Smith or Jeffrey Kessler or anybody else coming to them and saying you didn't dot your I's and cross your T's appropriately. So we have to take into consideration what they have to battle and what they have to deal with. And also, while we're doing so, let's not gloss over what Christine Brennan said. She said the NFL should be applauded in some respects, while she said they should still make this decision about Johnny Manziel. But she also highlighted the National Hockey League and what it's not doing. But we don't hear anybody talking about that. I mean, what's the problem? Why is there such a level of urgency, you know, to expedite the process and address everything when it comes to the NFL, but we ignore the National Hockey League? There's something wrong with that. We either care overall or we don't. We can't care because it's the NFL, but don't care because it's the National Hockey League, because it's not as popular as the NFL. We either care or we don't.
Stephen A., let me just read one line again. If the NFL investigation finds sufficient credible evidence that it appears a violation of the personal conduct policy has occurred, then that's when the paid leave will occur. In the meantime, until they complete the investigation. I look at both sides, trust me, in every situation. I understand we don't have all the evidence, but from that tape, we have enough that Johnny should be on the exempt list right now.
Well, again, like I said to you, I have no problem with that. I'm just saying that I appreciate the NFL saying we're sending somebody out there ourselves, and this matter will be handled. Now, if Sunday comes and Johnny Manziel is playing, he's suited up, we got a problem. Molly's position is absolutely on the money. So is Christine Brennan's. But what's the matter with the NFL saying it's Thursday? We're sending somebody out there. We've already sent somebody out there. We're investigating the matter. What if the NFL comes down with the position tomorrow to put Johnny Manziel on the exempt list? We going to get on them because they didn't do it Thursday morning?
Although this actually happened early last week, and then it didn't break until, I think, last Friday, late afternoon, after our Friday show. And the dash cam, to your point, fair on your side, that the dash cam it wasn't made public by the suburban police department until Tuesday, I think, maybe late Monday afternoon. So, okay. Something needs to be dealt with now.
See, it needs to be done before Sunday. Yeah. It needs to be done before Sunday. That's all I'm saying. It needs to be done before Sunday. Okay. But it's not like the NFL should be insulted or criticized because they're dotting their I's and crossing their T's. Remember, Greg Hardy's suspension got reduced from 10 games to 4 games. Ray Rice won his appeal. So regardless of what position the NFL takes, the Players Association steps in defending their players, and the NFL wants to make sure they get it right so they don't have to worry about revisiting the matter. I don't see a problem with that as long as it's dealt with before Sunday.
Got it. The policy is now in place, and they have the opportunity to get it right here with this one. And again, an unfortunate situation that Johnny's in the news for issues like this. Moving on, another decade of dominance. A 38-year-old Tom Terrific says he could see himself playing for a long time. Just how long? We'll tell you after the break. Skip, you're going to love this.
Oh, I hope so.